So it's a 100-pound cat. It's still going to be smaller than the dude that it's attacking.
Did you ever get in a fight with a house cat?
Never.
I've never gotten in a fight with a house cat.
Friend to all animals.
I am as well, but I had a feral cat. I raised him.
They're all fucking feral, Joe.
No, they're not all. This was a cat that was actually born in the wild.
Really?
Yeah. He was born in the wild, and I had to stay with him in a room to get myself used to him. Or get him used to me. This is pre-internet too, by the way. So this is like in the 90s. And so I locked myself in a bedroom with this kitten and just brought a stack of books. I put a mattress in there, brought a stack of books, just hung out with this cat. And every time I'd get near this cat, the cat would freak out and hiss at me and jump on the curtains and fucking literally like climb the blinds, screaming and hissing. And then I finally would get my hands on him and he would immediately start purring and giving in. Because once he realized I wasn't trying to eat him, that I was his friend, I would pet him, and he would purr louder than any cat would purr. It was crazy. Like, I developed this bizarre bond with this cat because this cat was so scared of the world. I mean, he was scared of everything.
The reaction every time?
No.
You eventually calm down to be like,
I was the only one that
could
could touch him, though. I was the only person. Like, my friends would come over, he'd hiss at them. He would like, wow, like let him know, like, bitch, shit is about to get really crazy. Right. Like, I'm not a regular cat. But I could go up to him and I could pet him. He was a feral cat, you know. What was my point beginning this?
I don't know.
What did we?
Have you ever
I had to get him fixed. This is what it was.
The cat.
I had to get him fixed, and I had to pick him up. And I don't know how the fuck he knew that something was going on. Oh, that's right, because I was trying to get him in a laundry basket. I was trying to put him in the laundry basket because I wanted to bring him to the doctor to get him
suddenly
fixed.
His buddy who he trusts comes at him with a fucking cage.
And not that deep into our relationship either, because he's only like 10 or 11 months old. He's spraying in my house, man. He's lifting his tail up and just shooting piss on my walls. I was like, hey, you fuck. Dude, he pissed all over the place. By the time I realized, like, I had to get him to a doctor. He'd pissed in my house like 10 times.
Right.
Because they just piss in the house. And then I was worried, like, if you don't get him quick enough, like, you had to clean everything up, deep clean all the carpets. But if you don't get to him quick enough, he just thinks, well, he's spraying from now on, even after you fix him.
Right.
That can be a problem.
Right.
So I tried to hold on to him and put him in this laundry basket. And dude, he tore me the fuck up. He tore my arms up. He just scratched me and clawed me, and he was remarkably strong. He's a little cat.
And this was your friend. Like, he had become your buddy.
He was saying the same to me. I thought you were my friend, bitch.
I know.
Why are you trying to stuff
He's
me in
like,
this laundry basket?
I knew it, you fucking prick.
So I had to throw a blanket on him. He was hissing at me and trying to get out of the room. I had to throw a blanket at him, and under the blanket, I scooped him up, and then I put him in the laundry basket, and then I slowly pulled the blanket out so he didn't suffocate while keeping the lid down, and then taped the laundry basket up so that I could put it in my car, and he wouldn't jump out my car and claw my fucking face off while I'm driving.
Did you just
like
leave
something
it?
Seen in a Chevy Chase movie.
Did you leave it at the vet and just walk away?
The vet was a good friend of mine who has since passed on, and he was a really that guy loved animals.
He was the cat whisperer.
He knew how to take care of it. He knew I told him the whole deal coming in, and he knew how to handle it. He's the only vet I've ever had cry with me.
Over what animal?
I had a puppy that had distemper. A friend of mine found these puppies at a gas station. Someone was giving them away. And he took a bunch of them, and he calls me up. He says, hey, man, you want a puppy? They're at the gas station. I said, yeah, man, bring that puppy over here. Man, the puppy just, after like a couple of days of being at the house, would have these seizures, like violent seizures. It would just lie down, and its eyes would roll back, and you could just pet it a little bit, and it would slowly come back. Then it would be weak and delirious, and it wouldn't know what would happen. And then towards the end, it was having them all day long. I mean, it was just all day long.
And that's distemper?
Yeah, distemper.
So how does it manifest again?
It's just some horrible neurological disease that dogs get. And if they don't get the right shots when they're young, they can get this, and there's a bunch of different horrible reactions, and it's fatal. So I had to take him to the vet, and the vet was like, there's really nothing we could do with him. He was having seizures all night. I mean, all night. It was awful. And he was like, he's going to die any hour now. We're going to have to put him down. So he puts him down, and he comes out in the hallway. I mean, I held the dog. I placed him down. I gave him a kiss. I said goodbye. And he put the needle in the dog and put the dog to sleep. Then we both went outside, man. He was just crying, just weeping. You know,
That's the guy who's good at the job right
he
there.
just loved.
He felt
loved
it.
animals, man. He had a ton of animals, man. He had cats and dogs and all kinds of shit, and he was killed by a drunk driver.
The vet was?
Yeah. It was rough. That was a rough one. I got an email, I believe, from his daughter. It was a rough one.
The
Super good dude, man.
who are you crying more for, the guy or the dog? Because the dude. Well, but you started with the dog though. You started getting teary.
The dog was a bummer, but it was more of a bummer even the way he was approaching it. Just
Human. He was
seeing-
approaching it very humanly. Like, most doctors, I guess, were expected that they're like, I'm sorry, this person has passed on. Or this
Yeah,
animal's
he wasn't
passed on.
calloused about it at all. His feelings about it were super raw.
That's why I would imagine I would be as a doctor, just like, I'm so fucking sorry.
That dude scared the fuck out of me with marriage.
In what way?
Because he would talk to me about his divorce, and he just grabbed me. He goes, "Don't you fucking get married. Don't you ever do it." And he was half joking and half serious, but he's like, "Trust me, you don't want to do that. You don't want to have to go through this kind of a breakup." He goes, "You got a girlfriend right now? You break up with her, what happens? You get broken up. That's it. You break up."
Right.
And he goes, "You don't have to see them in court every week for a year over and over again while they're just trying to take money from you and lying about what you've done so they can get more money from you." He went through a bad one, and I believe some of his friends went through real bad ones too. And he was one of those dudes, and I was like, 26, 27, and I was like, Jesus, man.
And you're like, this is a man of science. He's a doctor. He knows what he's talking about.
A wise man who knew a lot of shit. So when I was a moron. So when he grabbed me, he goes, "Listen, don't fucking get married."
Did you get married?
I got married. He's just, he was just a guy that, I really firmly believe when it comes to things like that, there's these people that are just supposed to be doing what they're doing, right? And he was a guy that was supposed to be working with animals. Like, it just worked, man.
He had the heart for it.
I mean, he's a veterinarian. He'd probably seen how many animals die, how many animals injured, and still the guy's crying.
Dude, a puppy is a baby dog. Nobody wants to see a baby leave this world without a chance. So the dude's got his heart in the right place. That's the guy you want to bring your animal to.
100%. He's also the first guy that ever told me, "Don't get my dog fixed."
Why?
Well, he said, look, he goes, "Don't let your dog have babies. Don't be an asshole." He goes, "But if you get your dog fixed, you got to realize your dog's not going to have any testosterone anymore. It's going to be tired. It's not going to be the same dog." And I was like, "Really?" And he's like, "Yeah." And so, of course, I got my dog fixed. And
you just would not fucking listen to this man,
when I got
would you?
him fixed, I was trying to calm him down. He was a pit bull, and he was very aggressive.
Right.
And when it did calm him down, but immediately lost most of his energy. He just didn't have the same energy anymore. He was kind of bummed out. It was weird.
The yellow lab that I had, we had two. When I first met Jennifer, my wife, she got pregnant shortly after we met.
Holla.
Yeah, that's how fucking virile I am, my friend. Feral, like a cat. So we'd never I'd never even owned a dog. So I was like, we should get a dog to see if we'd be good parents. And so we went to the pet store in the Menlo Park Mall in New Jersey and looked for a yellow lab. She had it in her head. She's like, I had a yellow lab when I was a kid, and they're the best dogs for children. So let's go get a yellow lab. I'd never had a dog in my life, so I was like, that sounds great. I knew what they looked like. So we went to the pet shop to try to find a yellow lab. And we found this dog that was blonde like a yellow lab, and they were marketing it as a yellow lab. But she'd been left behind. All the other puppies had gone, and she'd been there perhaps a little too long. She wasn't a dog yet, but she was fucking on the, what was the Britney Spears song? I'm not a girl, not yet a woman. That's where the dog was. She was too big for the fucking cage.
Right.
Her face was pressed up against it.
No.
So we were like, what about this dog? And it was been priced down. You could see $2,000 marked all the way down to
This is a Disney
$600,
movie, man.
Truly. So we got that dog, and you never seen it was like something out of a fucking cartoon, because we were the ones that were like, get out of this cramped ass cage and come with us out into the parking lot. This dog instantly bonded with us, loved us so fucking much, became so needy. We called it Scully. We were big fans of the X-Files. So after a week of having that dog, and the dog was like up in our grill all the time, just like, thank you for fucking getting me out of there. Like, you are my people and shit. We were like, we should get another dog to babysit this dog. So this dog has a friend. So we went, instead of to the pet store, we went to a breeder's kennel, like a pedigree place. And they had puppies versions of fucking yellow labs. And they were adorable. Like fucking 10 of them falling all over each other. Like an animated, like a Pixar movie. And Jennifer picks up one and bonds with it. She's like, this is the one, let's get this one. And I went over to the counter. I was like, all right, man. And we just bought a dog the week before, $600. And even then I was like, 600 fucking bucks, man. They throw these things out, you know. We can get one for free and shit. But I was like, I've never paid $600 for a dog. So, you know, I went up to the counter expecting, well, that's the rate, I guess. The going rate for a yellow lab is $600. So I went up to the counter and I was like, we'll take that one. And the lady's like, that'll be $4,000. And I was like, for all of them? I just want one. And she's like, these are pedigree dogs. And I just met Jennifer, barely knew her, so I couldn't turn around and be like, put that down. That's too expensive. I tried to represent. So I was just like, well, $4,000, we're paying too low. We are stealing from you. And we got that dog. And to be fair, we named him Mulder. Because again, X-Files fans, Scully and Mulder. And Scully was just like happy heart that just loved. Mulder was so smart and fucking thoughtful. He wrote my 4 best movies. That's why he died. I made Tusk and Yoga Hosers. Like without that dog writing for me.
How'd he write for you?
It's a joke, Joe. He was feral. He was just saying he was so smart.
Oh.
He was so smart. How smart was he? He's so smart he wrote my last few scripts. Joke didn't quite land. Sorry,
I was missing
folks.
something.
It was
I wasn't
my
paying
bad.
attention.
I didn't set it up properly. I'm not a fucking pro. But in any event, he was wonderful. But we got him clipped, and his demeanor never really changed. He was always very low key. We called him Kilroy because he'd go to the other side of the bed and just look up like this.
Yeah, I got my Mastiff snipped, and it didn't really change his personality much.
He stayed the same.
Yeah, he stayed the same. But he was always kind of a mellow dog. They're very big dogs. They don't like to do too much.
We got a rescue last year and a half ago. That was like when Mulder died a couple of years ago. He made it to 15, which is like fucking deep.
That's old in
for
dog
a
years.
for a big dog too.
Yeah.
That's pretty deep. Like a dachshund will stick around, for fucking like cancer, but a fucking big dog like that, generally you don't make it past 10, 11. So we got a lot of good years out of him and stuff. But it was fucking horrible when he died. I spent the last 2 years of Scully's life almost as rehearsal for Mulder. They're yellow labs, so what usually goes first is the hips and the back legs.
Yeah.
So Scully's back legs went. The rest of her body could work, but she was literally dragging her carcass.
What was wrong with her legs?
They just went. Doctor was like, that just happens. They're done.
Wow.
And she was 12, 13, so she'd made it a while. But
So they just stopped working?
Just stop working, just give out.
So the nerves stop firing, the legs stop moving?
There's no muscle
And that's
to
a
lift
common
them
thing
out.
with labs?
Yeah.
Wow.
So I put a scarf under the back end of her, called it the magic walking scarf. And I would become the back legs for her. So she would walk and I would be the back legs. And, fucking get shit and piss all over you and stuff. But I dug the dog, so it was no big deal. So I did that all the way up to when Scully passed away. And then Mulder was always very healthy and fucking mobile and loved walking and stuff. Super athletic dog. Jen would take him up on Runyon Canyon and shit. Then one day his back legs started dropping and your fucking heart sinks because you're like, all right, Scully, she wasn't that active. So when she lost her legs, it was a bummer, but she wasn't like the runaround dog. She used to chase Mulder. You'd throw a ball, Mulder would run after her, and she would just chase Mulder and try to bite his back legs to prevent him from doing it because she wasn't nearly as fast. Mulder was the go-out guy. He loved to fucking be active. So when his back legs went, it was like heartbreaking. And then he stuck around for 2 more years. So it was literally 2 years of me magic walking scarfing this dog. Then he got to the place where he did, it wasn't distemper, but when you were talking about it, it sounded so familiar. He would do this thing where he would be like, and this would go on for fucking hours. And you could tell it was exhausting for him, and he couldn't fucking move. So, everyone in the family was like, it's time to let him go. And this was like when he first lost his legs. But I was like, are you fucking shitting me? If I lose my legs, you better fucking put a magic walking scarf around my fat ass and not fucking turn me over to the needle. I was like, this is fucking family here. So I held on to him for as long as I could until he got to that place where he was like in obvious fucking pain. And I remember I shot a video of it on my phone. I still have it, and it's not, you know, it sounds fucking cruel or sick, but like it was just a reminder, because every once in a while, like I knew eventually like we would have to put him down, and like it's such a weird relationship where one day you're like, I love you to death and I love you so much I have to fucking kill you. So I had that video on my phone for the longest time, so that when in like the wee small hours of the morning I would wake up and be like, you killed your best fucking friend, I could watch that video and be like, you had to. He wanted to go. His dog was sick. So the doctor came over. We got the vet to come over to the house. And it was like a big deal. It was like we all knew it was coming and shit. I was flying home from a gig, and I kept telling like Jennifer, like, don't do anything. Just like freeze. Like, I'll be there as quickly as possible. And so like Dr. Kumar, who's our vet, was, you know, scheduled to come over. And that last fucking hour was like probably hands down the most difficult hour of my life, man, because we all knew what was coming. And you're programmed to stop that at all costs. You're programmed to keep people around, keep yourself around. And yet, like, we were just all sitting there loving on him, knowing that, like, by the time Dr. Kumar gets here, it's all done. It was fucking hard, dude. It was the hardest thing in the world to do. And he was still in pain the whole time. So even though you knew you were doing the right thing, it was like I understand why that vet, you know, got emotional. Like,
Yeah.